covering all your local high school football games with highlights and scores. Now, Football Friday, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
All right, here we go. Good evening, everybody. I'm Gary Harris, and this is week number 10. Can you believe it? WVUA 23's Football Friday. Football Friday is presented by Alabama Credit Union. Visit alabamacu.com to learn more. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Well, as I say every week, Football Friday is 1 hour again this year. And tonight we have highlights from 13 high school football games for you. Plus, of course, our complete Bank First Football Friday high school scoreboard. Our Football Friday Band of the Week, our premier service company Outside the Huddle feature, Rodney Orr's recruiting tales, behind enemy lines, around the SEC, and more. And we're going to begin, as we pretty much do every week, with our DCH Football Friday Game of the Week.
Now, the Game of the Week, brought to you by DCH.
Unbeaten Hillcrest, this is their regular season finale tonight. Their bye is next week, trying to go 10-0 in the regular season for the second straight year, but they'd have to get through McAdory to do it. McAdory trying to get something going here. They're down early, but Jacob Clopton finds the big wide receiver, Ja'Cory Whitted, and he's open over the middle for a huge gain. Then it's Clopton finds some room and gets it to Kamari Shepard. Now that got the Yellow Jackets on the board. That's good news for McAdory. Bad news is Hillcrest was up 28-0 at that point, and they weren't done. Man alive, Bryson Kimbrough, what a year he's had. Drops back, throws a dime to Caden Smith. 35-7 Patriots. And I love the uniforms there. They went with the red and the powder blue tonight. McAdory trying to convert on long fourth down. They had to go for it because they were so far behind. But it turns out into, it looks like an interception, but it's an incomplete pass. Hillcrest tonight, they do it. They roll as we check out the final 48-21. So Hillcrest, well, they'd already wrapped up the region title, Class 6A Region 4, but they go 10-0 for the second straight season. Now, they went 10-0 last year, then won a playoff game, then got beat by Saraland. What they're going to be trying to do, of course, is finish this thing off and win the Class 6A state championship. They've got a team that could do it, but we know how tough 6A is once you get into the playoffs. But this Hillcrest team seems to have it all. I mean, 6A Region 4 is an incredibly tough region, and the Patriots just bulldozed their way through it this year with really not a close game. We'll have more on this game with post-game analysis coming from Joe Gaither a little bit later on in the show. All right, let's keep it going. Central Class 6A Region 4 hosting Hueytown tonight. And the Central Falcons much improved this year under Mario Pippin. But, you know, they still got some work to do. But Falcons on the opening drive, David McNeil looks to the receiver, but it's picked off by Alex Vassar. Gophers then would stall, but Central gets it back, and McNeil scrambles, and this is what he's so good at. Just buying time and then finding the open man, Jalen Powell, in the end zone, and the Falcons strike. Hueytown looks to answer. Jaquil Rouser gets it into the end zone. We're tied at 7. This was a heck of a first half tonight over at Falcon Field. Hueytown on the move again. Elijah Hudson takes off, makes a man miss, and gets it into the end zone. Golden Gophers go up 14-7. Central down 21-7 now, and the Falcons, though, coming back. Marquise Thomas gets the edge, and you know what they say in football. If you get around the edge, that's bad deal for the defense. He gets it into the end zone, 21-14 at this point. This was a close game at half, but as we go to the final score, we'll see that the Golden Gophers pull away in the second half and win this one tonight, 56-28. But again, Central much improved this year, but not enough for the Falcons tonight at home against Hueytown. All right, Northridge honoring their seniors tonight for senior night as they played host to Brookwood, also in 6A Region 4. Early in the first quarter, Brookwood quarterback Jacob Rowell. Sometimes you just got to do it yourself. He converts a third down into a first down. Then Rowell rolls out and throws a 10-yard pass to Timothy Barron for a first down. And he was down there, but Brookwood would get a touchdown to go up 7-0. But here comes Northridge. Drew Clater fights through tacklers for an 8-yard gain. And that sets up a field goal to get the Jags on the board. Coming out of halftime, Northridge, Tyson Whiteside is going to kind of pick his way, and then when he gets through the line of scrimmage, it's an open field. He gets a big gain, chased down, but it would not matter. Whiteside, he did the work. Why not let him get the touchdown? He punches it in, and then he is going to celebrate. Why not? There it is. A little jig in the end zone for the Northridge Jag. And the student section's loving that one. And they're going to love the final tonight. Has not been a great year for Northridge, but they got to have a good time this evening, beating their rival Brookwood 34-20, the Jags over the Panthers tonight in a battle of the Big Cats. Paul Bryant hosting Bessemer City as we stay in 6A Region 4. First quarter, no score. Edwin Merriweather rolling left, but he's picked off by Antoine Page Jr. Bessemer City gets the turnover, but they couldn't do anything with it. Bryant back with the ball. Merriweather this time finds his own man, which is what is recommended. Joshua Hines for a 25-yard gain down the sideline. Bryant caps it off with a touchdown, and the Stampede go up 6-0. Second quarter, as we see some defense here from Bessemer City as they get the sack. And then Christopher Whitsitt Jr. gets it in for the touchdown. 7-6 lead for the Purple Tigers. And there's a big pass play right there for another touchdown for Bessemer City. And they go on to get the win tonight as we check out the final score. 41-12, Bessemer City over Paul Bryant tonight here in Tuscaloosa. Well, we've got so much more to come here on Football Friday as we're really just getting started. And still to come tonight, Tuscaloosa Academy needed a win against Cold Springs to clinch the top seed in Class 2A Region 5. And the Tuscaloosa County High Wildcats have been eliminated from playoff contention, but TCHS was looking to spring an upset against playoff-bound Vestavia Hills tonight. We'll have the highlights when Football Friday continues right here on WVUA 23. Our cheerleaders presented each week by Pool and Patio Center. Welcome back into Football Friday on WVUA 23. I'm Gary Harris. For the Tuscaloosa County High Wildcats this year, they felt like they had an opportunity to make it into the 7A playoffs, and certainly the season kind of started in that fashion, but they didn't win the games down the stretch that they needed to win, so out of playoff contention tonight, but hosting Vestavia Hills, a playoff-bound team, and the Wildcats looking to pull the upset. Let's go out to Northport and check out the action in this one, and the Wildcats taking the field. They have great fan support, great facility, just trying to gain ground in 7A Region 3 is not easy. Senior quarterback John Paul Head for Vestavia is a great player, and he is going to score early on. He does that a lot. He's a terrific runner. 7-0 Rebels go out on top, and the Rebels would not let up in this one tonight, unfortunately for the Wildcats. Ball is on the ground there, and the Wildcats get a big play to get the fumble recovery to quench the opportunity that the Rebels had to score, but they just kept coming, did Vestavia. Head delivers the dime to Cooper Millison for another touchdown. It's 14-0. Later in the second quarter now, Vestavia was able to get a field goal to make it 17-zip. And then Carson Mann gets the screen pass, and he is tracking it down. And the quarterback Head does it again. 24-0 at this point. And this one's all Vestavia tonight as they roll over the Tuscaloosa County High Wildcats. There you see it. 45-0 tonight, the final score there in Northport. All right, 7A Region 3. This was a big one. Thompson at Hoover. Now, Thompson is the four-time defending state champions, and Hoover, well, they're not what they've been, but they always play Thompson tough. This is a big rivalry game. First drive of the game, 4th and short for Hoover, and you go for it against Thompson. You need to make it. They don't. Jonah Winston is buried under the Thompson defense, and that allows Trent Seaborn to get the ball, and he finds Angel Jones to make it 7-0. But that was Thompson's only score of the first half. Hoover battled back, as they usually do against the Warriors. They saved their best for Thompson. Bradley Shaw powers over a tackler. And then near the end of the half, 4th and 7 for Hoover, and they faked the punt. Shaw gains 8 yards. Thompson would only lead 7-3 at halftime. But the Warriors come out fast in the second half. Seaborn airs it out, and Colvin Landrew is there avoids the defender, 14-3. And then this is not a replay, but it's very similar. Seaborn and Landrew say, you know what, if once is good, twice is better. And another touchdown, 21-3. Thompson goes on to win as we check it out, 21-11. But Hoover did what they had to do. They're going to make it into the playoffs this year with a team that is not vintage Hoover, but Wade Waldrop and company get into the playoffs. Obviously, Thompson is going to be the favorite again in Class 7A as they have managed to navigate the season with just one loss, and that was only to a 6A team, Clay Chalkville. So they're still unbeaten in 7A with a week to go in the regular season. All right, staying with 7A Region 3, Chelsea tonight hosting Hewitt-Trussville, and the Chelsea team knew they were going to have to play really well to have a shot. Here comes Peyton Floyd in the Hewitt-Trussville offense. He finds Donovan Price. That already makes it 14-0. Second quarter, Floyd under pressure, but he is a very, very good athlete. And he shows you right there what he's able to do. Just avoid pressure, throw it up, give your guy a chance. It's deflected. Jaden Loving, though, says, I'll take that. 55 yards later, it's a touchdown. Doesn't matter how. It's how many that counts, right? Later in the second quarter, Floyd fires to Dylan Cope, and the Huskies go into the locker room at halftime up 28-6, and you kind of get the feeling where this one was headed. Let's check out the final, and you are right if you believe Hewitt-Trussville went on to a big win, because they did. 49-20 tonight, the final. The Huskies get it done on the road. All right, staying over in the Birmingham area, Class 6A, Homewood at Briarwood. Homewood in the white, Briarwood there in the home colors. First quarter, Briarwood's Kenneth Reynolds off the deflection gets the pick. No score at this point, so a big play by the Lions defense. And then Kenneth Reynolds will pay it off. He reaches out and gets tripped and gets it over the end zone line for a 6-0 lead. Second quarter, Homewood's Malik Smiley blocks the field goal. And that keeps Briarwood off the board. They were leading 6-3. But then Briarwood returns the favor as they block a field goal. And it's still 6-3. We'll go to the third quarter now. And this is a big play in the game. Briarwood with the ball. Been a defensive struggle to this point. But then Kenneth Reynolds, look how he had the patience to let the hole set up. And then he just exploded through it. He's gone. 64 yards. Touchdown for the Lions. They led it 13-3. Let's check out the final. And Briarwood gets a big win tonight. A rivalry game there over Homewood. 20-13 is the final score. Well, still to come this evening on Football Friday, Rodney Orr will check in with another Alabama football recruiting tale, and this is one that involves Tim Tebow. You'll probably remember this recruiting story. But first, Tuscaloosa Academy playing Cold Springs tonight for a region title and #1 seed in their area or their region for the Class 2A state playoffs. Highlights when we return to Football Friday here on WVUA 23.
We're CCHS cheerleaders. We love Football Friday on WVUA 23. Go Cougars!
Welcome back to Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. Still to come this evening, another installment of our Abby Award-winning series, Outside the Huddle. You always want to stay tuned for that. But first, we've got more high school highlights. A big one tonight here in Tuscaloosa. Class 2A Region 5, Tuscaloosa Academy hosting Cold Springs. The Knights needing a win to earn the region championship and top seed in the state playoffs. Tuscaloosa Academy first drive getting themselves into the red zone, and quarterback Preston Lancaster, who's had a fabulous season, finds Ellis Hammeter for the first touchdown of the game. A lot of pink tonight, of course. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so you're seeing a lot of pink in these high school football stands and cheerleaders. That's awesome. Tuscaloosa Academy gets the lead, and then Cold Springs looks to get on the board, and Joshua Winfrey gets the direct snap and powers it across, but the Knights will claim the lead. Lancaster throws a dart 30 yards to Mills Turnipseed for a touchdown. And back and forth we go. Cold Springs not going to go down without a fight. The Eagles punch it across there from the goal line, but then the Knights will take it over. Lancaster finds Mills Powell, and he is going to sprint into the end zone. 35-yard touchdown. That kind of opened the floodgates for Tuscaloosa Academy. The Knights, how about this? Their second year in HSAA, and they are going to win a region championship and have the #1 seed coming out of their region in the playoffs. Tuscaloosa Academy 48, Cold Springs 26. Outstanding win tonight for the Knights here in Tuscaloosa. 4A Region 3, Sipsey Valley at Hale County, and Sipsey needed a win tonight to clinch a playoff spot. Could they get it on the road? Well, they were going for it. 4th down, quarterback L.J. Cormier rolls right, but it is incomplete, but you see the flag. Pass interference there against Archie Milligan, who got tackled, and that leads to Omad Witherspoon going the other way on the first offensive play of the game, because they picked that flag up. They called it interference, and then they picked it up, and you saw what Hale County was able to do with it as they came back with their first offensive play and got a touchdown to make it 8-0. Cormier again on 4th down, but Hale County holds, and it looked like the Wildcats might get the win at home, but Sipsey Valley made plays when they had to, and as we check out the final, our Alex Booth was there, but he had to move along, and well, I know we have a final on that game. Sipsey Valley, did Sipsey Valley win that game tonight? 28-20? 48-20. Sipsey Valley does get the win tonight over Hale County. Sipsey Valley wins it, and they're going on to the state playoffs. 4A Region 5, Northside at home against Hamilton tonight. Senior night for the Northside Rams. Starting off, we have Jackson Rhodes handing it off to Bennett Green, who runs it 15 yards into the end zone for a Northside touchdown. And this was a very entertaining game if you're a Northside fan, because they got on top and they just kept going offensively. And look at the defense right there. Might have been a face mask there, but no flag. Not a penalty if they don't call it. And here come the Rams again. And that is Bennett Green. And this one was all Northside tonight as they kept the pressure on, and they get the big win tonight easily. So we check out the final score, 47-6. Northside takes care of Hamilton. 2A Region 5, Lamar County needed a win tonight over Winston County to clinch a playoff spot. And look at the posters there for the seniors. Lamar County's second possession. Quarterback Xander Bradford rows out and completes the pass to Ryan Isink for a 15-yard gain. Later on a 4th down pass, Jordan Gotze for just enough to keep the drive going. And then it's Gotze on a bad snap. And Winston County's outside linebacker Cameron Adderholt with the recovery. And then Winston County junior quarterback Landon Kelly is going to take it the distance. And the visitors trying to spring an upset over Lamar County. They take a 7-0 lead. Lamar County gets the ball back. There you see more pink. And this time it's Xander Bradford trying to make a play, but he's picked off by Rakeem Moore. And it's not just an interception, but he's nifty. And he's got reservations for 6. That is a touchdown, 14-0. Winston County on top. And they're trying to blast the Bulldogs, that's for sure. Next possession for Winston County, Eli Moore is going to score. 21-0. But the home team would not go away. Lamar County is going to come back down 21-0. And Gotze is going to punch it in for their first points of the game to make it 21-7. Let's check out the final here tonight, and you'll see that it is Lamar County storming from behind. That's the thing about these high school games. You know, we can't be there for the whole game, so oftentimes when we leave, the game looks like it's going to go in one direction, and then it totally will turn around. And that's what we kind of expected Lamar County to win this game, and they had to battle for it, but they get the victory. 43-35 was the final. Mortimer Jordan playing host to winless Jackson Owen on Thursday night over in Blue Devil country, and we said that Jackson Olin is winless, and they're going to stay winless in this one. Mortimer Jordan's senior captain quarterback Garrett Ames buys some time and then finds Coleman Maldonado for the touchdown to make it 8-0. A lot of teams go for 2 now. And then it's Ames to Maldonado again. And Mortimer Jordan still not done in the first quarter. Terrence Gaines scampers in for the touchdown to make it 22-0. Second quarter now, and Mortimer Jordan driving again. Ames finding Maldonado one more time. How about that? Third touchdown connection between these two on the night to make it 29-0. And this one is all Blue Devils on Thursday night over in the Birmingham area, north of Birmingham, 52-8. Mortimer Jordan gets the victory over Jackson Olin on Thursday night. Well, when we come back, we're going to run down all the scores. There are a lot of them on our Football Friday high school scoreboard and our Band of the Week as well. But we'll get to those scores when we return to Football Friday right here on WVUA 23. So you stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Central High School, our marching band of the week. Before we get to the scoreboard, because we didn't have the score up on Sipsey Valley, I want to make sure again that I get that information right. Sipsey Valley beat Hale County tonight 48-20, over 600 total yards of offense for Sipsey in that one, and they get the number 3 seed. It appears in the playoffs. So huge win tonight for Sipsey Valley over Hale County. All right, it's time to check in on our scores. So let's turn our attention to the Bank First scoreboard. Bank First putting customers first, and we got a lot of them to get to, so let's go ahead and run through them pretty quickly here if we can. And we'll start out with American Christian Academy. Big road win tonight at Montevallo. I think they're going to get the 2 seed. They win 15-6. Bibb County over Holt 54-0 tonight down in Centerville. Summerton Christian at Holy Spirit. And look at this. Congratulations to Holy Spirit. Big win tonight here in Tuscaloosa. The Saints knock off Summerton Christian 26-25. West Blockton wins at Dallas County 35-16 the final there. Demopolis over Greenville on the road 31-7. And Aliceville at home takes care of Greene County 46-6. Trinity at Greensboro. Trinity wins at 49-7. And Berry wins at Bryant 44-8. Midfield at Fayette County. The Tigers get the win. Fayette County doubles them up 36-18. And Lynn tonight at home over South Lamar 47-20 the final. Marion County beats Hubbardsville 41-28. And Winfield blanks Oakman 42-0. It was Cordova winning at Curry 49-6. And North River Christian, they're into the playoffs in the ACA 8-man league 72-27. They win over Trinity Christian tonight on the road. Big win there. And Tuscaloosa Christian wins 2. 56-48 over Jacksonville Christian in 8-man football. University Charter tonight over Ringo 44-0. Haleyville Downs Corner 32-13. It was Tarrant over Carbon Hill 42-28. Clay Chalkville beat Shades Valley 52-28. Spain Park down to Oak Mountain 42-17. Pelham over Chilton County 34-28. We're into some Thursday night scores now. Or I think this is still Friday night scores. Gadsden City over Calera, 46-0. Look at this. Helena loses for the first time. They fall at Benjamin Russell down in Alex City, 20-17. Linden wins a forfeit game over A.L. Johnson, 1-0. J.B. Pennington wins at Southeastern, 42-12. And now we're into Thursday night scores. Pinson Valley over Pell City in overtime, 41-38. Pleasant Grove blanked Jasper, 55-0. It was Dora winning big at Oak Grove. And Hackleburg, an easy winner on Thursday night. And that is going to wrap it up for our scoreboard, but much more high school football is on the way, because when we come back, Bama Central's Joe Gaither will join me for high school football analysis, including the Hillcrest Patriots. Can anybody stop them this year in the playoffs? 10-0 for the second straight year. We'll break it down for you when WVUA 23's Football Friday continues.
Northside cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23.
And you know this guy by now. He joins me every week for high school football analysis. Joe Gaither from Bama Central. And he's got a great Bama coverage at Bama Central as well. But tonight we're talking high school football. Our game of the week was a good one on paper in that we thought McAdory might be able to give Hillcrest a game, and they did for a little while. I mean, it wasn't a complete blowout, but let's go to the video. This Hillcrest team is just phenomenal, and they wrapped up another perfect season as coach there looks on as his team got out to a 28-0 lead. Joe, you were there, and I guess when you watch Hillcrest, there's just no margin for error when you play them. They are so good in every phase that you got to play perfect and then I guess hope for a little help.
Absolutely. I mean, they got the 3-and-out to start the game, and T.J. Banks took a pretty good little punt return down to about the 30-yard line, and 2 plays later, they're in the end zone. Their offensive line is dominant, and they have just a pretty good passing game as well with Bryson Kimbrough. I'm very impressed with Hillcrest.
Look at that, man. Just perfect throw. The thing about Hillcrest, they were 10-0 last year. Of course, we know they had that injuries late. They want to win a state championship, and they're really good. But when you get into the playoffs, everybody's good. Do you think this team, we know Saraland's going to be back, the team that knocked them off last year, you think this team can do it?
It's Saraland, it's Clay-Chalkville, and it's Hillcrest, really, as your 3 biggest teams in 6A. And really, on the right night, I think Hillcrest can do it. Their offensive line was really dominant. Their defensive line rotates 8 or 9 guys, and so really it's just going to be about stopping Ryan Williams if they play Saraland again.
Yeah, and like you said, you can't overlook Jalen Mbakwe and Clay-Chalkville. They're a powerhouse,
Absolutely.
too. All right, let's talk a little bit about Tuscaloosa Academy as well, as they, in their second year in AHSAA, win the region championship, taking care of Cold Springs tonight. You know, you're not supposed to come over from AISA and be really good right off the bat, but they were good last year, and this year even better.
It helps when you have a real good quarterback. Preston Lancaster, junior quarterback, got a little experience last year behind their starter, but really has taken over the reins for the Knights and winning the region, really, as the class of the region. They were in a close game with Cold Springs tonight, but were able to pull away late, and it'll be fun to see what they do in Class 2A.
It really will. And one other note, Sipsey Valley, it's been a tough go for the Bears, but tonight, LJ Cormier and company get it done at Hale County. They're going in the class in the state playoffs as well.
I'm really happy for them, especially after seeing them last week. Had a tough week last week with ACA, but LJ and Wyatt Bailey, they're a great connection. I think that it's going to be great for them.
All right, great stuff as always, Joe. We appreciate you. One more week of the regular season, although some teams will be on bye. Some teams play 10 straight weeks, and then 2 weeks from now we'll have the playoffs. So it's about to get turned up, and we hope it's about to get cooler, too.
It's going to be a lot of fun, Gary.
I want to have some cooler weather for the playoffs.
Absolutely.
All right, when we come back, our Abby Award-winning Outside the Huddle feature. And welcome back to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. It's time now for our Outside the Huddle feature, presented by Premier Service Company. Premier Service Company, the power to keep you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And tonight, if you're a high school athlete trying to earn a college scholarship, you might need to learn how to be your own promoter. Stu McCann has more in this week's Outside the Huddle.
The old expression, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, is a core tenet of the pursuit of a college scholarship.
I'm a huge proponent of, especially in the recruiting process, you need to be your biggest fan, and you need to be the one that's pushing for you and putting yourself out there.
If it is an athlete, are you on Twitter? Are you posting highlight reels? I know a lot of them sometimes don't want to brag on themselves, but that's kind of maybe the only way they get their name out there.
Bravado would seem to be a natural response. Athletes regularly display swagger, but often it's the competition that brings it out.
It didn't come natural to me because it was just kind of awkward because you have to be kind of pushy on coaches and stuff like that. So it was kind of awkward because you didn't want to bother them. But if you want to get noticed, it kind of takes you bothering them.
It's a bit of a two-way street. Students looking for an athletic scholarship need to match the amount of dialogue as the schools that are recruiting them. It can be more than twice as much interaction for an athletic recruit than an academic one.
I'm getting contacted by recruiters, by academic advisors, all sorts of position coaches, and it may be one school and I'm hearing from 3 different people. Whereas typically, if it's just an academic scholarship, I'm going to hear from that one person, and a lot of times it's going to be at the end of the year.
Even with more interaction, there is just as much uncertainty while waiting for that official scholarship offer. The way the recruiting process plays out can feel similar to the peaks and valleys felt over the course of an entire football season.
You'll get contacted by a college, you'll be really excited and think that something's going on, and then there will be a hiatus where you don't really talk with them at all. So it is kind of always a high and low.
It's like they think they've checked that box and now they're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. What they don't realize is that there are other steps that they have to take, and we've got to get them in contact with people because relationships are huge.
The more relationships, the better. Last week was free college application week in the state of Alabama. Bolger applied to 9 colleges for academic scholarships. That is in addition to the 5 athletic scholarship offers he's hoping to pick up.
They aren't going to come to you. Whether it's an academic scholarship or an athletic scholarship, you have to put yourself out there because there are so many candidates out there and so many people that are trying to get the scholarship that if you wait for it to come to you, it's probably not going to happen. So you have to put yourself out there so that as many people can see you as you need.
But just because you are who you think you are, you know, sometimes you get a little bit of dose of reality, I guess, and you realize that, hey, there are other things I have to do besides just be good on the field. And I'm not, I guess, as important as I thought I was. And it's really hard because these are kids. I mean, you know, trying to shift their mindset and change their perspective can be difficult.
Research tells us the age range of 13 to 22 demands more instant gratification. The college recruitment phase is one of the first opportunities for young adults to show they are ready to advance out of adolescence and into independence.
Great job, Stu. Very interesting stuff. We'd also want to thank Don Ward and Blaine Burrows from our WVUA 23 production team for helping with Outside the Huddle every week. Well, coming up in this week's Behind Enemy Lines, Drew Pavon and Bama Central's Tony Tsoukalos look at Alabama's season to this point. And our Recruiting Tales segment with Tiger Insider's Rodney Orr will focus on how things might have been different for Alabama if Tim Tebow had signed with Mike Shula and the Crimson Tide instead of Urban Meyer and the Florida Gators.
We're the Tuscaloosa County High cheerleaders, and we love Football Friday on WVUA 23. Go Wildcats!
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Gary Harris. It's now time for Recruiting Tales with Tiger Insider's Rodney Orr. Tim Tebow is one of the most celebrated college football players ever, and it's easy to wonder what would have happened if Tebow had signed with Mike Shula and Alabama instead of Urban Meyer in Florida. Rodney tells the story.
I really don't know how close Alabama came to getting Tim Tebow. You're talking about a guy who their mailbox was a Gator. He's got pictures of former Gator stars all over his room. You know, was he certainly considering Alabama? He was. I think he did like Mike Shula. I think they did have a great relationship. And I think, you know, a day or two before he committed, when Shula went down to visit him for that last time, supposedly Shula spent 7, 8, 9 hours at his house. That's not been verified, but that's always been the story, is that Shula spent a great amount of time a couple of days before that announcement with Tebow. But I don't think he was ever really coming here. I think there's no way. Number one is he wasn't a fit for Mike Shula's offense. He was a perfect fit for Urban Meyer's offense. Urban Meyer was not letting Tim Tebow get out of Florida. There was no way. A lifelong Florida fan, perfect for his offense, wasn't going to happen. What I really think was going on, this is just me, is Tim Tebow was one of the first to do those ESPN commitment announcements in mid-December. If you remember that, you had to build the drama, right? I mean, if he's a lock for Florida, who's going to really care to watch what Tim Tebow says on ESPN? But there's just a lot of drama. And I remember getting text messages from someone inside the Alabama building complex that morning saying, we're getting Tebow. They really thought they were. I never thought they were.
So excited because I promise you this is big time right here. This is a great football game.
Recruiting Tales. You hear them, and Rodney Orr has them. All right, Alabama's on bye, of course, this week, and will host LSU in a huge game a week from Saturday night. We sat down with Tony Tsoukalos, editor of Tide Illustrated, to give you an inside look on the Crimson Tide as they are at this point in the season before the Final Four games. Here's Football Friday's Drew Pavon.
As Alabama rides into the bye week, ranked 9th in the nation and undefeated in SEC play, they will try to use this break as a chance to improve. But Tony Tsoukalos, editor of Tide Illustrated, says the improvement seen from the Crimson Tide signal caller has been the difference in their recent success.
He doesn't seem as scared when the pressure comes in. I mean, he hung in there a few times, really, really well with the pressure, especially when you're considering what Tennessee was coming at him with. I think under pressure in general, he seemed a lot more poised. And I think he's just the guy that kind of learns off of his mistakes. Nick Saban keeps on telling him, and he keeps on kind of parroting that he needs to just be a point guard. And that really is all that Alabama needs from him, is just to kind of distribute the ball. They don't need the spectacular plays all the time. I do think he's slowly progressing, and that's a positive sign. You just got to be moving in the right direction.
On the opposite side of the football, one thing hasn't really been questioned all year, and that's the play on the defensive side of the ball. A unit that has depth, experience, and the bend-don't-break mentality.
The heart of this defense is Deontay Lawson. So I think that he's kind of a huge part in, just really being exactly what Alabama needs at that position, being able to go sideline to sideline, being a sure tackler, a guy that can provide pass rush at times. So I think he's really big. That the defense has been, good and maybe even better than what people thought it was going to be. I think this team tackles a lot better than previous Alabama teams. I think it's a little bit tougher than previous Alabama defenses. And, you still got you lost Will Anderson, but you still have the elite pass rushing duo of Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell. I think that, and you look back at the secondary too, I think that might be the biggest surprise, is just how well it's gelled. Got an overall strong unit. There's really no weaknesses there.
The bye week isn't just an extra week of preparation before the Tide play LSU, but it's a chance to work on the little things and make sure to fine-tune the struggles they have had before they look to make a playoff run.
I think the pass protection has to be cleaned up a lot. And then I think you have to, continuously get growth from Jalen Merrill, have him make better decisions like he has been. Really, if those two things kind of hold up, I think that Alabama has a really good shot. There's other things too. These slow starts have been, really a problem. In the red zone, they've been scoring, but a lot of times they've been settling for field goals. I think, in those close games against good teams, you're going to have to score touchdowns. The biggest two things would be the pass protection and the decision making. I think the defense is really set. It's kind of hard to find things that are wrong on defense. Having better pass protection is going to help out the running game. It's going to do a lot. It's going to help Jalen progress as a passer. So that's number 1, 2, and 3 for me.
While the Tide are idle this week, they may have their hands full next week when the Bayou Bengals travel to T-Town for a battle between two rivals and two potentially high-flying offenses.
I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, they're going against, maybe the best quarterback in the SEC, an LSU team that likes to go deep ball just like Alabama. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing. That'll be fun to watch. I don't necessarily think LSU's defense has been up to it, and I think what will happen is LSU's still going to be able to move the ball to some extent, but I think Alabama's defense will do a lot better job of stopping LSU than vice versa. I always thought that Tennessee was the harder opposition for Alabama than LSU would be, so I expect them to get past LSU.
Well, coming up, Ronell Foreman will take us around the SEC, and USA Today columnist Blake Topmeyer on why Alabama needs Nick Saban more than ever. That's straight ahead on WVUA 23's Football Friday. Well, it wasn't that long ago that many in the media were saying that Nick Saban was nearing the end of his amazing run as Alabama's head coach, that the modern game just wasn't for Coach Saban. How quickly things can change. USA Today columnist Blake Topmeyer wrote a column this week on why Alabama football needs Saban more than ever. Coach will turn 72 next week on Halloween. But Topmeyer says there isn't anyone out there that can replace the GOAT right now. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I get the impression that Saban isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Welcome back into Football Friday. Alabama and 3 other SEC teams, LSU, Arkansas, and Missouri, are on bye this week, but there are still 5 SEC versus SEC games on Saturday, including Florida versus Georgia. Rennell Foreman takes us around the SEC.
It's week 9 of the college football season, and the Southeastern Conference is starting to heat up. We start in Jacksonville for the 101st annual world's largest cocktail party, as some fans would call it. Places the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs to take on the Florida Gators in a game with huge SEC East implications. And Georgia coach Kirby Smart has much respect for Florida head coach Billy Napier.
It's a really good job. As a football coach, as a man, person, worked on a staff with him, admire him and the way he coaches and goes about things. He's very detail oriented. No stone left unturned.
Next in Oxford, the Ole Miss Rebels are gearing to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores in prime time at Vaught Hemingway Stadium, and Lane Kiffin is focused on getting the Rebels offense better on 3rd down. So far this season, the 6-1 Rebels are 32 of 89 on 3rd down conversions. That's only 36%. Coach Lane Kiffin at the press conference said, "We didn't execute and beat man-to-man in certain things. If you don't beat man-to-man and protect long enough, make accurate throws, and you put all that together, you're going to have struggles on 3rd down." Lastly, we go to Lexington as the Kentucky Wildcats welcome Tennessee to town, and the Wildcats quarterback Devin Leary has been struggling in his past 4 games, only completing 47% of his passes, which is last in the SEC, and head coach Bob Stoops says he and the team have to respond better.
There's a variety of things that you could point to that happened, whether it be penalties, whether it be protection, whether it be a drop, or whether, you name it. But we definitely have to help Devin, some more.
For Around the SEC, I'm Rennell Foreman.
Well, it's late October, but it feels more like early June. Here's WVUA 23 Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott with your weekend college football forecast.
And those local high school football games wrapping up tonight, and it's crazy the type of weather we're dealing with as we get close to the end of that high school football season. Temperatures very warm as we go into the weekend. Just want to show you this because it's going to be such a warm weekend, near record levels for Saturday and Sunday, upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that southerly wind. We do have some college football to talk about. Alabama is off this weekend, but Auburn taking on Mississippi State down at Jordan-Hare Stadium. That's over in Auburn. So if you're heading down that away, 81 at lunchtime, maybe tailgating early in the day. 2:30 kickoff, 86, a very warm game down at Jordan-Hare. We got a 79 by the end of the game, so temperatures quite warm, but some changes are coming up. So as we look past the weekend, just want to show you this because there's about to be a big air mass change. Temperatures in the teens and 20s over the high plains and northern Rockies. That cool air is coming our way. We're going to see temperatures well below average. We're going from record-breaking now to below average temperatures by the time we get into next week. So by Halloween and Halloween week, we are looking at temperatures in the 50s during the day. Could see the first potential frost of the season by Wednesday morning and Thursday morning of next week. That's a look at your local forecast and, of course, college football. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Richard. This note from cross country: for the 2nd consecutive season, Victor Kiprop claimed the individual crown in the men's 8K race at the Southeastern Conference Championships Friday morning in Columbia, South Carolina. He is some kind of special athlete. All right, that is going to do it for Football Friday. We thank you for tuning in. A reminder to join Drew Pavon this weekend at 10 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday for your local sports on WVUA 23 News at 10. And, of course, I'll be back on Monday at 5, and we'll start our LSU coverage previewing the big game between the Tide and the Tigers a week from Saturday night here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Have a great weekend, everybody.